Picking up where we left off, let's take a look at this. We're going to determine the limit for this function, and now if that looks intimidating, this is a piecewise function. F of x is equal to, well, the first piece is x plus 1. That's when x is less than 2. And the second piece is the square root of x minus 2. That's when x is greater than or equal to 2. So if you remember how piecewise functions work, if we ever are trying to plug in a number less than 2, we would use this one. If we're ever trying to plug in a number greater than or equal to 2, we would use this. And it's as simple as that. Okay, so part A, we have a one-sided limit. We've got a limit, and I apologize again for my sloppiness. I guess it works in my lecture notes. I'm usually a little bit better on a board. The limit of this function as x approaches 2 from the left, we've got that little negative sign there. Well, let's think. If we have a piecewise function and we approach 2 from the left side, well, which piece should we take? Should we take the piece where x is less than 2 or the piece where x is greater than or equal to 2? Which would represent the left side? And if you say, well, that's when x is less than 2, yes, the numbers less than 2 are going to be on the left side. So what we need to do, I'm just going to rewrite limit, Lim, x approaches 2 from the left, and I'm going to fill in the function for that left side, which is x plus 1. Okay. So when we apply the function, well, we need to choose which piece, and we're going to choose that first piece for the left side of 2. And then it's just as simple as plugging in 2 plus 1. Our answer here is 3. And I've got a note, use the left side of x equals 2. Yeah, so that would be the negative side, what's beneath x equals 2. Okay, very good. I'm going to keep this on the screen, or try to, and we've got a couple more of these. What if we did x approaches 2 from the right side? So here I've got limit f of x as x approaches 2 with a little plus. What should we do then? Well, that's when we take the greater than 2, right, on the right side. So I'm going to write limit x approaches 2 with a little plus, and now I can fill in square root x minus 2 there in parentheses. The numbers bigger than 2 are on the right side. And once we have that, well, it's just a matter of plugging in. So we've got square root of 2 minus 2. Well, that's the square root of 0, and that's just 0. So there's our answer here. So we're using the right side of 2. And then I've got a couple more. How about this one? So the limit, getting sloppier and sloppier. Wow, it's just getting worse and worse. The limit of f of x as x approaches 2, and notice there's no left or right indicated. That's a two-sided limit. What would be the answer to the two-sided limit here? And so, well, you'd have to go back to the answers to the left and the right. Well, on the left, it was 3. Approaching from the right, it was 0. So one is going to 3, one is going to 0, right? They're not matching up. So what's the answer? Does not exist, or you could just write D and E. The left side did not equal the right side. And I've got one more. Is it going to fit? Let's cover up part A. That'll work. I threw this one in there just to kind of cap us off because, hey, you might see questions that don't involve approaching 2. How about the limit of this function as x approaches 10? What would you do in that case? Well, you'd have to think, well, which of the 2 should we choose? Is it less than 2 or greater than or equal? Well, 10, obviously, we're going to choose the greater than 2. And just like in part B, we're going to plug in the 10, and that's going to give us the square root of 8, which maybe we simplify what that's 2 square root 2. That looks nice. Okay. Well, hey, that's our introduction to limits. Go check out the 2.1 homework on Math Excel, and 2.2 lecture videos are up as well.